Welcome in to the Pick a Side podcast. Shea, Norling, Tyler Aki with you as always. This is going to be a little different of a Monday episode than you will usually get throughout the year. Last year we did NFL recap on Monday, college recap on Tuesday. This year we're making our lives and hopefully your lives easier, scrapping that idea and doing a weekend recap every Monday. It'll incorporate everything.
This feels like an efficient move by us.
Yeah, I mean, it's work smarter, not harder.
Yes, 100% agree.
So we'll get you those once the season start. Today we could do a weekend recap, but there were only 5 games in week 0. And
Any quick thoughts?
yeah, it sucks for both Iowa State and Kansas State that they had to play that game at all.
Yeah.
The fact that, like,
You couldn't even put a first down line on the field.
I know.
Or a line of scrimmage.
One of their 3 most important games of the season had to be week 0 in Dublin in a deluge. That's just fucking brutal.
Great game, though.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Boy, we were on the edge for that under that we cashed on.
I think Avery Johnson blows. Iowa State's offense
second
blows.
half was better than his first half, but yeah.
But
now he got his family. He's created civil war within the family. So
you've got Avery Johnson's father and brother in a fist fight.
Wrestling.
Like neck choking each other out in a puddle outside of the stadium, and you've started your season 0-1, and you're 0-1 in conference. That'll be all.
Thanksgiving should be fun in the Johnson household.
Everybody who bet Kansas State to win the Big 12, rest in peace.
Yeah, you can tear that one up.
All right, but that's about it. I mean, otherwise, Kansas housed Fresno.
Kind of fun. Hawaii. How about that kicker?
Big win on the island.
How about that kicker too, who taught himself how to kick on YouTube?
Yeah,
and
that's
then
an awesome story.
Went to a community college. Now he's at Hawaii, and now he's kicking a big field goal to take down ACC power Stanford.
That is the most fun that Hawaii fans will probably have all season, all 7 of them. And I don't think it's the least fun Stanford fans will have all season. That team is awful.
Real quick side note off of that. Andrew Luck is the GM for Stanford.
Yeah.
Sitting in the coach's booth. Yay or nay? I kind of think I don't like that.
I don't either. I don't get why he was doing it.
Like, if that's what you want, if that's where you want to sit, be a coach.
By the way, I want to run this by you quickly, and as we pivot to NFL thoughts, because just today we will do an NFC North and AFC North preview. This is not related to either of those divisions, but it is related to Andrew Luck. He's the GM at Stanford right now. Mm-hmm. Is this a GM experience role so that when Chris Ballard gets fired, he can be the GM of the Colts?
No, because first of all, I feel like he's more married to Stanford than he is the Indianapolis Colts. And second of all, GM of a college program and GM of a professional program are completely different jobs.
Yeah, GM of a college program is go sit in a room and get people to give you money.
Like that would be the equivalent of saying like, for our medium, for just like the media world, that's like saying a play-by-play guy is the same as a radio host. Like they're 2 completely different things, but it all falls under the media umbrella.
Journalist, different than what we do.
Yes.
100%. Mm-hmm. Okay, so those are your rapid-fire week 0 thoughts. Stanford sucks. Hawaii sucks, but nice win. Idaho State and UNLV. UNLV sucks. Idaho State, maybe fun. Kansas State and Iowa State, wonderful. Kansas State season is effectively over. Iowa State's off to a good start, but boy, do they look bad. And then the Kansas game, I don't know what to make of it. Maybe Fresno's just dog shit. Kansas housed them. I still don't know if I believe Kansas is all that good. I'm on a win total under that I feel a little less comfortable with now, but they were probably always winning that game, so I'm not all that worried about it. With that, let's go to the NFL. Do you want to start AFC North or NFC North? And I will add the caveat. My thoughts on the NFC North are a little bit more expansive.
All right, let's start with the NFC then.
Okay. I have one bet that I really like and another bet that I kind of like, but admit it is a massive long shot. The bet I really like is Lions win total under 10.5. I don't like what I'm seeing. I really don't. And it goes beyond they lost both coordinators, which feels cliche. It
doesn't happen often.
No,
it's happened 5 times.
It doesn't happen often. When it does happen, you do see a natural regression. Shout out Philly a couple years ago. I know they started 10-1, but they fired their defensive coordinator in that run. elevated Matt Patricia. They won him 5 to their way to the playoffs and got ousted immediately by Tampa.
And oh, by the way, that team was in the Super Bowl the year before.
Right. I am not writing a death sentence on the Lions' window by any stretch, but I think there will be enough growing pains this year and enough of a step back this year that I would not call them a Super Bowl contender. Losing both coordinators is important. But the key for me, elevating John Morton, who I don't know is any good, and all the talk out of the camp and the preseason games is kind of willy-nilly offense. He's just like, receivers run your routes and will get you the ball. Like, there's no condensed sets. There's not as much play action. When you do that with Jared Goff, I got problems immediately. Second, the offensive line is a far cry from what it's been. You still have Penei Sewell. You still have Taylor Decker. Problem being, Taylor Decker hasn't been good. Last year, he wasn't great. He's only getting older. Penei Sewell's fabulous, but the interior is totally overhauled. And now there's a Graham Glasgow injury that muddies the waters at center, where Frank Ragnow retired. And they're talking about Tate Ratledge could be the center. One problem, they gave him reps at center that were so bad, they moved him off of the position, and he's a rookie. They lost Kevin Zeitler, their best guard. Their defense is bad to begin with. They won 15 games last year, so if you want to go, again, natural regression, they won't do that again.
Yep.
Everything that I see from Lions camp is a fade.
I am with you. I would actually, and I don't love the value on it, but a bet I'd because I thought I would get value on it, but it's not really there, is Lions to miss the playoffs.
Have you seen the numbers on that? That is the single most bet miss the playoffs.
Is it?
Bet that's been made, yeah. It's the most popular to miss the play. Now, obviously, if you're betting Cleveland to miss the playoffs, you're paying minus 500. But the value in it at plus 150, it is the most bet team to miss the playoffs is the Lions.
That's interesting because you got to remember this when you lose coordinators too. You don't just lose the coordinators. You lose the staff that is underneath those coordinators too, a lot of it. I mean, you don't get to take all of it, but the Lions had to replace Antoine Randall. They had to replace J.T. Barrett. They had to replace all the guys that went with Aaron Glenn to New York. It's not just losing the coordinators. And I think part of that too is I get Dan Campbell is the culture, but I feel like this team is going to lose a bit of its identity. And here's what I mean by that. This is an uber aggressive team. We know that. They go for it on fourth down. It's just what this team is. Are you able to do that as much when you don't have Ben Johnson calling the plays? When you don't have an offensive mastermind with Jared Goff? Like, that's all Jared Goff knows in the NFL. Talk about someone who has been coaching spoiled over the course of his career. Sean McVay and Ben Johnson. That's
the little,
about as good as you can do.
The little Anthony Lynn run that ended quickly, too. And that was the worst football he's ever played.
So I just look at this offense and I say, all right, all that fourth down stuff that was so efficient and so good from a year ago, is that going to be more like league average and we're going to see their fourth down success rate drop 10%? So while simultaneously putting more pressure on your defense to come up with stops, and this was a team that I get last year defensively, was one of the unluckiest teams health-wise. They did the numbers on it. It was the 6th unluckiest health-wise they were in the last 25 years. The 6th unluckiest team. And while that's a problem and you expect regression to come back your way a little bit,
it already isn't.
You already have a guy who's out for the year with Ennis Rakestraw. You already have another defensive lineman out for the year.
Levi Onwuzurike.
Yep. So it's not looking good out of the gate there. You've got Aiden Hutchinson coming back from major injury, and it's kind of his defense. Like, they only go as he goes. So if he goes down with an injury, the whole thing goes to shit once again.
And the reports on Aiden out of camp are he's incredible. And he's like a favorite for comeback player of the year. He's one of the favorites for defensive player of the year. If you wanted to bet either of those, I wouldn't stop you. I think they're really valuable. I just don't know that it translates to team success. We know Max Crosby's been phenomenal. It hasn't meant anything for Vegas because the rest of the team's terrible. Your point about losing identity, I don't know if they'll lose like the culture or the grit mindset, if that means anything to anyone. It really doesn't to me. It's kind of a tired bit at this point.
Grit is what 500 teams have.
Right. Whether you buy any of that stuff, fine. That they'll still have. What they won't have is what made them great offensively, which was Goff play action, condensed sets, running the ball really effectively, and their offensive line. Those three things are gone. That losing that part of your identity is where I'm like, I don't know, man. And the defense really concerns me because it's Aiden and who? Brian Branch is great, but Brian Branch can't be...
He's a safety.
Yeah, you just can't impact the game to that level.
Yeah.
Now, if they go in the next week and a half and trade for Trey Hendrickson or trade for Micah Parsons, one, I'd be absolutely floored because Brad Holmes, the GM, has said on record, what, it's not good enough that we have Aiden? Do other teams have two of these? Yeah, look at Houston. So I'd be stunned if they do it to begin with. It would change the way I feel about them to an extent. Like, I still think they're good. I just don't think that they'll be great again. And the regression that you put in from winning 15 games for any team, then you bake in all the losses. I could see them being an 8 or 9 win team.
I think this could be a sub 500 team. You know what's telling to me too is Jared Goff has been one of the league leaders in passing each of the last couple of years. The last 3 years since he's been under Ben Johnson, consistently gone over 4,000 yards. His passing total this year is 3,900 and a half. And I get you bake a little bit of a lower number because of injury potential for any player, but 3,900 and a half, he's paced over that in 7 of his last 8 seasons. That's a number that is a lot lower than I thought it would be.
They're still a fun fantasy team with all the weaponry. Jameer Gibbs, David Montgomery, this Tesla kid that's come out of nowhere, out of Arkansas. I don't know what the hell was Arkansas doing with Isaac Tesla.
Yeah.
He got like 23 targets at Arkansas, and then he comes to Detroit, and he's a miracle in the preseason. So they're still interesting from that angle. If you want to go that route, they're one of my prime fade candidates this year. Vikings, somewhat similar. Like, there has to be a fall from winning 14 games, and you replace the quarterback. But the rest of the roster is outstanding, assuming they can stay healthy and not be suspended.
For sure. The thing that I look at, I think we almost have a bit of a case study for this Vikings team, and it's the team that was apparent in 2022. So last year, the Vikings were 8-1 in one possession games.
Yep.
Remember that 2022 team that was 11-0 in one possession games? And I always look at those one possession games and turnovers.
It's a great point, too, because I believe the Lions were 7-2 in one possession games.
And you feel like that comes back to the pack a little bit.
It almost always does.
Just like turnovers. And I think that you're going to see this Vikings team who, I don't know what J.J. McCarthy is, but we know that Sam Darnold put together a Pro Bowl caliber season last year. I would be floored if that's what J.J. McCarthy looks like in year one.
So would I. The camp reports, I don't want to buy into them too much, but they're not great. It's a lot of uncertainty around J.J. McCarthy. Everything's kind of, is he good? Is he not good? He has an up day, he has a down day. He throws picks. I don't know what it's going to be, but it does ring a little odd to me that they traded for Sam Howell and then traded Sam Howell away, and then now they've gotten rid of Brett Rippon and they're bringing in Carson Wentz.
I don't understand that. Because to me, it almost signals a vote of confidence in J.J. McCarthy.
Or we might need to do another rehab on the fly, and they think Carson Wentz is the next Sam Darnold. The thing that still gives me caution about the quarterback room is if they believe so much in J.J. McCarthy, why did they spend all of last offseason trying to find escape hatches? They did want to pay Darnold. They just didn't want to pay him $40 million. I don't blame them for that. They did ostensibly entertain the Aaron Rodgers thing. Like, they were looking for a quarterback. That tells me they don't believe in JJ. And I don't blame them for doing it. I don't hate JJ McCarthy. I don't know what he's going to be as a pro, but anytime a guy loses his rookie year with 2 knee surgeries and he already didn't throw the ball a lot in college, I get Trey Lance vibes.
Yeah.
I don't think that's unfair, but the roster is outstanding.
For sure. I just think that, and they've got like a good line up front. They've got a good run game. Obviously, the receivers are fantastic. The defense, Brian Flores, we know what they did last year. I'd expect to see a lot of the same this year and continue to develop some of the guys that they brought in last year in the draft. I don't know, man. Like, the Vikings are kind of a mystery to me. Their win total sitting at 8.5. I will say this: they're probably the best value to win the division.
I agree with that. 100%.
Plus 320. They're third in the odds in the division to win the thing.
I actually think you could make an argument that they should be the favorite because they have the best roster.
It's tough. It's tough to.
It's just the unknown at quarterback.
Yeah, it's tough to pin them as a favorite when there's overturn at quarterback and there is a team in the division that won 15 games a year ago.
But if the quarterback is any good, and I'm not even saying Pro Bowl good or all pro good,
he has
if
to be
he's
average.
Pedestrian. Like if J.J. McCarthy has a 25 touchdown, 12 interception, 3,000 yard season, the Vikings win the division.
If he plays like Russell Wilson played for the Steelers last year,
they win the division.
I think so.
Their roster's so good. So like I kind of wanted to bet them to win the division, but it's not the long shot bet that I want to take, which is you're going to have to talk me off of it.
Okay.
But 4-1 for the Bears to win the North.
You can get 5.5 to 1 on DraftKings.
Even better. I don't want to bet the win total over because I don't like the odds. I'm not getting enough to win 9 games. But I think they could win 11.
Let me give you the better bet. Let me give you the better bet.
Sure.
All right. Just bet Ben Johnson to win Coach of the Year at 7-1.
All right, I'm in.
Because, and I'm not saying I'm diving headfirst into that bet, but like
They don't have to win the division for him to win that.
and if they win the division, he's winning Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
Like I would be floored if he doesn't win Coach of the Year and this team wins the division.
7-1, he's one of the favorites too, right?
He's second behind Vrabel, yeah.
It's for the Bears, it's interesting because all the flaws I talk about with the Vikings, which is just the quarterback inexperience, or the Lions, which is all of the things they lost from a year ago, it's still ifs for the Bears. It's if Caleb Williams is good, and if Ben Johnson is what we think he is, and if they have an offense that can really move the football, and if Dennis Allen can get this defense to be top 10.
You sound like a Justin Herbert defender.
Well, I just believe in those things happening a little more. Like, I think there's more firm ground to stand on. They went out and bought an offensive line that I think should be top 10. They spent first-round picks at right tackle. They spent a first-round pick at wide receiver. They spent the number 1 overall pick at quarterback. If Caleb's terrible, then this isn't going to happen.
It doesn't matter, yeah.
But I don't believe that he's terrible. I don't believe he's even bad. And I actually think the way people talk about his rookie year is, I'm trying to think of the best way to frame it. I had issues with it. I thought he took too many sacks. I thought he threw the ball away too much. He was too scared of throwing interceptions. I think it was coached into him by Eberflus. I don't view it as being a problem now. I don't think his rookie year was bad the way a lot of people frame it up as.
No, I mean, if you look at the raw numbers, not bad by a rookie standard. The problem is there were 2 other rookies that had great seasons, like Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels had maybe the best rookie quarterback season we've ever seen.
Yep.
And Bo Nix was right behind him on that front. But if you look at Caleb's numbers side by side with those guys, they're not that far off.
9 out of 10 years, if you post what Caleb did as a rookie, you win Rookie of the Year. For
sure.
He just had the misfortune of playing in a season where, 1, they were bad, and 2, Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels existed. And then I think people retroactively look at the season and go, he wasn't good because Jaden Daniels was so good. But that can't be the way that you evaluate a player. Yeah. You have to do it on their own.
Yeah.
So if I expect any
I think it was more the second, the fact that Bo Nix had the season that he had,
right,
that really made people frame Caleb the way that he did. And I'm not saying he was anything fantastic because he wasn't. I don't think he had a bad rookie season.
I think there's an opportunity for the Bears. And maybe it's me and it's the fooled again meme where I'm buying in a second time and I'm going to get burned. But I feel like this division, there is opportunity for them to make some noise.
I think there is. It's just that I feel like this is a real sort of accordion season for the NFC North, where last year we saw the win totals inflated to what they were across the board.
3 teams combined for 40 wins.
And I think this year you're going to see that condense itself. It's just natural regression for all 4 teams. I think you're going to see everyone's going to get a little bit closer to 9 wins this year.
How many wins does the division champion have? 10?
I think 10.
Then I'm comfy betting a Bears 4-1 to win it. Because I think 10 wins is where they're going to live. And all they have to do is win a couple of the division games. And I think they have a huge benefit playing the Lions early week 2. The growing pains are still happening. Playing the Vikings, obviously Monday Night Football out of the chute, but Jordan Addison won't play. And if Justin Jefferson plays, he'll be playing hurt.
And he's I think the bigger thing too is like JJ McCarthy has not had a summer with Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
Like, he's not on the same page with him.
If you start the year 2-0 and they're both divisional games, you are rocketing up the boards to win the division. You'll know early. Like, if you play Bears to win the division, you will know in those first 2 weeks if you've got a shot or not. But if they win both of them, they'll maybe be the favorite.
I don't know. It's tough to go from fourth in the odds to favorite.
But 2-0 will do that when you
2-0
knock off the two favorites.
Certainly. It certainly can help.
Granted, the Packers are ahead, but I don't know what to do with them.
I think I'm actually going to be on the other side of the Packers than you, but we'll get to them in a second. Here's my thing in this division. You're going to see like strength of schedule because of who they face in like your division matchups. This division gets the NFC East, which has, dare I say, 4 different teams that I think could win that division. Like,
yeah,
legitimately.
Yeah, I agree.
And then the AFC North, which has 3 teams that can be a problem for you week to week. And this is one of the hardest strength of schedules. I think the Vikings have the hardest strength of schedule in the league. The Bears are 5th. Like, this is going to be a real gauntlet for this division, and that's why I think 10 wins does it.
The Lions have the most difficult road schedule in the history of the NFL.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's the schedules for the NFC North are insane, and all the teams are like, none of these teams are bad.
That's part of why I'm worried a little bit about the Bears. Like, I think if you flipped the nature of their schedule, this team, I would feel pretty good about getting to 10 wins. But because of how it's structured, where I think you play the easy games early, and some of those easy games are divisional games.
Yeah.
But you get those early, and then you have to pay the tax at the end of the year when you should be better. I just think you may lose a game you shouldn't at the beginning of the year. Now, maybe you make it up on the back end and you're playing like a better team and you win a game you shouldn't. Who knows? Maybe you shock the world and you go out on Black Friday and beat the Eagles, right? Maybe the Niners aren't who you think that they could be based off of what their preseason win total is. Like, maybe that's how this stuff shakes out at the end of the year. But I don't want to see the Cowboys in week 3. I don't want to see any of these teams early on. Like, even dare I say like Vegas. That's not who I want to see early on.
Can I say, not that we're doing NFC East, but don't you have to put a little of the regression you put on the Vikings and the Lions on the Eagles too? And isn't there a little bit of like, we won the Super Bowl, a slip early, and you don't want them on Black Friday late when they're getting into their groove. But also, I don't know if their pass rush is good.
No, that's definitely a fair point. You're going to see the NFC East regress, and I think it works both ways. I think the 2 teams that didn't make the playoffs will be much better this year. I think the 2 teams that did make the playoffs will take a step back wins-wise.
I can't wait to get to the NFC East preview.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
I felt a way about a team that I do not anymore. Maybe we'll do the East tomorrow.
Okay.
Because I'm excited to get to the NFC East, and it's just, I think it's the most fun division in the conference to talk about. The NFC North is the most competitive. So let's get Green Bay out of the way.
All right.
I don't feel great about it. Their secondary strikes me as not good, outside of Xavier McKinney. Their defensive line strikes me largely as not good, outside of Kenny Clark. Their offensive line is just okay. Jordan Love, I can't make heads or tails of. He's an analytics darling everybody loves. But when I turn the TV on, often he looks like shit. And he throws horribly timed interceptions, a lot of them. The running game's fantastic with Josh Jacobs, or it was a year ago. Is it going to be that again, or does that regress a little bit? Like, I think everybody's out over their skis on Matt LaFleur's great, and this is a really good analytics team, but when you watch them, they just aren't explosive. Is Matthew Golden really a wide receiver 1? I don't think so. I don't think he steps on the field the way Malik Neighbors did, or the way that Brian Thomas Jr. did. And the rest of their receiver room is just guys. Jaden Reed, like, he's a good player, but he's an also-ran.
When you've got guys that go 5 deep like that, like, that's depth that not a lot of receiver rooms in the league have.
And it's tools for LaFleur.
And you can withstand injury throughout the course of the season. You're always going to be in a good spot. And I see what you're saying with Love, but like, if you look at his season last year, everyone felt like he took a significant step backwards. And like, raw numbers-wise in certain areas, he did. But if you look at some of the other numbers, like, he only took 14 sacks last year. Like, that is, to me, it felt like year 1.
It's his greatest trait.
Year 1, he was a gunslinger, and it worked out positively for him. He threw for a lot of touchdowns. He threw for over 4,000 yards. They won a road playoff game largely on his arm. And it felt like last year was, all right, we're going to teach you how to play quarterback. And that's where you see the sack numbers go down. But his yards per attempt were up from the year before, despite the fact that his yards were down. You saw his quarterback rating and his passer rating both go up from a year ago, despite the fact that his raw numbers were down. And I feel like this could be the year where he puts both of those together, where it's, all right, he has an understanding of how to play the quarterback position, and he knows what his raw ability is. We saw what his raw ability was 2 years ago. And all of that coming together, I think you're looking at the best quarterback in the division.
He needs to be healthy. That's the key. And I wonder if the gunslinging went down a year ago because he wasn't healthy, dealing with lower body injuries. He can't run around as much. He couldn't extend plays. He had to be more sewn into the pocket. Also missed time, so the raw sack numbers you could inflate a bit for playing more games.
He only missed 2 games.
I do think there's a bit of I would love to bet a Packers under. I'd love to be the guy like Cap that just gets on and tells you they're going to finish dead last in the division. Yeah, they went 1-5 in the division last year, and they were a blocked kick away from being 0-6 in the division. We've beaten the word regression to hell. I think that's way more likely to positively regress than it is to repeat. I don't feel like you go 1-5 in the division again. I think, especially when it's buoyed off a few one-score games, you're probably more likely to go 3-3 than you are to go 0-6.
And people want to take that win off the board for them off the block field goal. They also played their second string team against the Bears when they were up big.
Yeah.
Right? Like
the loss was the
ways.
twos.
Yeah.
But it's part of why I don't have a bet on the Packers, because I'd like them to go under. I don't like them straight up. I don't really like Jordan Love. I don't really like Matt LaFleur. I don't really like Green Bay. I would like them to be bad. I think there's a world where they are, but they're also one of the most consistent organizations in the league, and the quarterback, whether I like him or not, is beloved by all the numbers that are smarter than I am. So maybe he is just good, and maybe they will just win the division. It's not the bet I would make at the number that you have to pay.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to get at a little live action if they start the season weak.
Yeah, because that's what I was looking at too. I really thought this Packers team would be third in the odds in the division to win the division. And then you look at it and they're sitting at plus 225. I don't like that value all that much. Like when I'm looking for a division winner, I'm not playing a favorite. I'm looking for a longer shot, usually in like the 3-1 neighborhood. Because it feels like you've got a little bit of a chance. Obviously, there's like a longer shot like the Bears. But like when you're looking at the Packers, I'm looking in the neighborhood of like, can I get 3-1 on them? And that's just not a number that's there right now.
I like your opinion on the Bears, though. I think 7-1 Ben Johnson to win Coach of the Year is a better play than 4-1 to win the division.
Let's say the Lions regress a little bit, but it's like a 3-win regression as opposed to going to 8. Like if they win 12 games, if the Lions win the division with 12 wins this year, which I don't think is going to happen, but obviously there's a world where that exists. And if the Bears go out and win 10 or 11, guess who's winning Coach of the Year?
Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson.
Yep. All right. Anything else in the NFC East or NFC North before we move on?
That's all I got.
Anything we missed?
That's all I got.
All right. AFC North, I don't have as expansive thoughts, but I can tell you there's one team that is going to win the division in my mind and is really not even remotely close to being competed with. That's Baltimore. They're just fantastic. And under John Harbaugh and with Lamar Jackson, they are a regular season machine. I have the way that I feel about them in big games. I have the way that I feel about Lamar in the playoffs. Until I'm proven wrong, I will stand by it. But in the regular season, the roster that they assemble, Derrick Henry and Lamar, and actually having weapons on the outside for him to use and using him more sparingly as a passer, the way they build their defense and the consistency of John Harbaugh, it's the best roster in the division. It's the best team in the division. I would be stunned if anyone else wins it.
Yeah, you've got the team that's co-favorite to win the Super Bowl, and you've got the player that's co-favorite to win MVP.
That's really all you need to know.
It's a good machine. So real quick, kind of like a sidetrack here, but if I had to give you the big four versus the field for MVP, you know, like I'm getting back into like football gear now, where like I'll be walking to the train and I just have a random football thought pop into my head. So when I was walking the other day, I was like, I don't think there's like a sexy under the radar pick for MVP this year. I just think it's going to be one of the big four, being Lamar, Burrow, Allen, or Mahomes. One of those four guys is winning MVP.
Yeah.
Right? I can't wrap my head around, oh, you're going to see Jaden Daniels take some sort of leap, or, oh, there's going to be some second.
He would be the one, though, right?
Yeah, probably. Just because, I mean, he's such a big name. It'd be really good for the league. I don't think, I can't see anyone topping these 4 guys right now.
I would offer you one, but I need more info on what the injury
Stafford?
is. Yeah. That would be the one. Late career, this is it for him. It feels like people are down on him because of the back injury, but that is a Super Bowl roster that the Rams have assembled. They've got weapons coming out of their ears. They've got a defense that's really good. I think they can win that division. They could be the 1 seed. I'll give you another one, too. They're both in the NFC. This would be the shot of all shots, and it would make my heart feel so good.
Okay, I thought I had it, but then you said it would make your heart feel so... Oh, Baker?
Baker Mayfield.
It takes a lot of heavy lifting, man. Like, these are the guys, like...
But that team, and again, we're not doing that division today, but the Bucs are loaded for war.
Yeah.
They're ready to go.
It just feels like you see these teams or these players in the MVP conversation, so many lately that just fade at the end of the year. And it always ends up being one of the big boys that comes away with the award.
Yeah.
Whether it's Allen, whether it's Lamar, Mahomes when he won it.
Well, if you made the bet one of those 4 of the field, I would take one of those 4.
I would too.
But if I were just digging for MVPs that aren't those 4, I think Stafford and Baker would be the 2.
The Stafford injury, like, are we sure he's alive? Like,
they seem to have a pretty positive update on it over the weekend. I feel okay about it.
I feel like one of the other criteria, though, for winning MVP these days is you got to run. Like, there has to be a running component, and you're not getting that with Stafford.
And if last year or the year before was any proof, you also have to do it with as few tools around you as possible. Like, Josh Allen won it last year because his roster was barren weapons-wise. Lamar won it the year before despite being worse statistically than Allen because his roster was barren weapons-wise.
So who's the guy that's barren weapons-wise? Because
it ain't Baker and it ain't Stafford.
Yeah.
It's Josh Allen again.
Yeah.
Like, if you really want to if you made me pick a favorite, and it is one of the 2 favorites, but if you made me pick who the MVP will be, I would pick Josh Allen because he's going to have the narrative. We know how good he is. That would just be the guy. Mahomes would maybe be the other one because it feels like maybe a resurgence year for Kansas City, but that would be it.
That's, probably. It's tough to go against any of those 4 guys right now. Like, they are playing the sport better than anyone else at the quarterback position, and they have the regular season success year after year after year. Like, of those 4 guys, I would bet 3 of them win 11 games this year.
How many people do you think have Shedeur Sanders MVP tickets?
Well, you can rip those up. Like that's the old. This is why Vegas's ceilings are made of gold.
Yep.
Right. Like, it's because there's people that do that.
Speaking of Shedeur, I am fading the shit out of Cleveland, and not even really. I'm not going to play it because the numbers are no good. The value is no good. They're going to be terrible.
They're going to have a good defense, I think. Still.
Yeah, it'll be okay.
Like, you've got 2 legitimate presences on the front. With Garrett, with Mason Graham, you've got good defensive backs. You've had good. This team's had good defenses. They'll probably be in almost every single one of these divisional games, except for maybe like 1. Like, it's just how they operate year after year.
And if anybody can prove that the quarterback carousel will work, it's Kevin Stefanski,
who's won 2 coaches of the years off of it.
Yeah, he won 11 games with 4 quarterbacks. Like, this guy can work magic with terrible QBs.
Yeah, like, if this team flames out this year, and they're probably going to, and he gets fired, he'll be one of the first guys scooped up.
Doesn't it feel a bit like they are intentionally throwing themselves into the bottom of Lake Erie so they can get a quarterback?
That's the way you should be going about it.
Whether
right
it's
now.
Klubnik or Aller or Arch Manning, whoever,
Nuss.
It feels like they have totally embraced the tank to get whichever of these quarterbacks decides to come out, if Arch comes out. But I'm not buying anything Cleveland. Similarly, I'm fading both other teams.
Okay.
I don't like what I'm seeing in Cincinnati. I know that they're running their starters out in the preseason, and there's some treatise that we're not going to start slow this year from Zach Taylor. I feel like Zach Taylor is a first coach fired candidate. Him and Mike McDaniel would be the 2 that I'd want to play. That defense is horrific. It might be worse than it was a year ago, especially if they trade Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah.
Which feels more and more likely the longer that this goes on. There will not be some happy reunion there. I think they're really terrible on that side of the ball. The preseason, great. Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow balled out on the Eagles' twos. I was a little bit more concerned by the fact that their first-team defense got fucking shredded by Tanner McKee.
Mm-hmm. The defense is a problem. All you did is go out, hire Al Golden from Notre Dame, who is a good defensive coordinator, but he does that with skill. Like that Notre Dame defense last year had a ton of skill.
It had the most talent in the league in America.
I just don't think you have that, especially if you don't have Trey Hendrickson, whether it's by his own doing or by the team's. Like, I just don't see how this defense improved. You literally did not make any add of significance aside from drafting Shamar Stewart, who sat out a good chunk of training camp while he was getting his contract worked out.
I love their offense. I think Joe Burrow's great. I love Jamar Chase. I love T. Higgins. I love Chase Brown. I think their offense is awesome. I think their offensive line blows. And last year they won 9 games and needed a late streak to do it with one of the best offenses in the NFL that was also healthy all year.
Yeah.
Are you going to get that again?
We see Burrow misses a ton of time, like every other year, and it feels like you got your luck last year.
I think one of my favorite bets in this division is Cincinnati to miss the playoffs.
Are you getting plus odds on that?
I'm going to check. I would hope.
I would just go under the 9.5. Honestly, like
are you with me on it though? Like you are fading them.
It feels like a 9-win team, and it just feels like they're running back the season that they had last year. Now maybe you don't lose that Patriots game like you did at the beginning of the year. You don't have that type of loss, but I just don't see a world where this team made any significant improvements, and I don't think playing in a preseason game is what's going to fix that for this team. I don't see that. Now, the other team that you're talking about that you're down on, I'm not as down on.
Really?
And maybe it's because I believe in Aaron Rodgers a little bit more than some of the masses do. I'll be one of the last people to hop off of the Aaron Rodgers boat.
Ooh, okay. Just quickly, Cincy is plus 115 to miss the playoffs, or you can get plus 180 under 8.5. I would do the under 8.5 plus 180.
I would just hit the miss the playoffs.
All right. Either way,
I think you're getting plus odds on both. Like you can miss the playoffs with 9 wins. They did it last year.
That's fair. All right, let's do Steelers. I'll let you start because you like them. I like absolutely nothing that I have seen from them this offseason. But go ahead.
All right. Well, they did a lot this offseason too. Like
they did the most, and I liked none of it.
All right. So you bring in DK Metcalf, you bring in Jalen Ramsey. That feels more like just, I don't want to say rearranging the chairs on the Titanic deck because this team did go to the playoffs last year. It's just they haven't been able to advance in the playoffs as of late. Listen, you're not going to find value in pretty much anything in this division from a win the division standpoint. But if you made me place a bet, I would place it on the Steelers at plus 475. And it's just because Aaron Rodgers is a guy who's going to get the ball out quickly. Russell Wilson is the complete opposite of that. Justin Fields was the complete opposite of that last year. And I think that you've got Rodgers, and even though I'm not expecting him to go out and have a Pro Bowl caliber season, he knows how to play the position at a high level. He knows to get the ball out quickly. And I think that's how DK Metcalf can thrive. He's got a good safety valve with Pat Freiermuth at tight end. I just think there's enough there, and we know what this defense is. TJ Watt is, for my money, the best defensive player in all of football because of the way that he forces turnovers from the edge spot. You've got a loaded up defensive line. It doesn't look like the Derek Harmon injury is all that serious, which was your big scare during the preseason. I just think the defense is good enough where if this division cannibalizes itself and everyone kind of plays closer to 3-3 in the division, you've got a chance with the Steelers to win this division.
Yeah, I don't believe in Aaron Rodgers anymore. I know the raw stats look good last year, 4,000 yards. He didn't throw a ton of picks. He had some touchdowns. You look at those numbers and you go, Aaron Rodgers is still Aaron Rodgers.
He was top 10 in a lot of categories. And I get why people are sort of out on it. But I also think that you go to Pittsburgh where there's a little more structure than there was in New York.
Fair, but he also threw the ball a ton in New York and inflated the stats a little bit. He was 24th in dropback success rate. He was 24th in EPA per play. And when I turned on my television and used my eyeballs, he doesn't look like a guy who could really play football anymore. He can't move. The ball doesn't zip the way that it used to. I don't like the way that he acts, and I think that plays into this. The second something starts going wrong, there's already reports that he's shredding Roman Wilson, and people are like, well, this is a good thing that he's getting in Roman Wilson's head. He's going to motivate him. I don't buy that. I don't like microwaving your defense with Jalen Ramsey, who's old now. Yeah, he was a top 10 corner last year by PFF. Can he do that again at like 32, however old he is? I have a hard time believing it. I always think Pittsburgh's defense is overrated. It was last year. That showed up in the playoffs. It showed up anytime they played a good offense.
Well, they shut down Lamar.
The one game. But in the playoff game, what happened?
That's all you need to do to get to win the division. You got to show up in the regular season. This defense showed up in the regular season despite the fact that they dealt with a lot of injuries, including to TJ Watt.
I don't buy any of it. Their offensive line's not good. It hasn't been for years. It's been one of the big callings from their fans that their offensive line stinks. Their quarterbacks have stunk, but in large part because their offensive lines have stunk. It's a running football team. That's their philosophy. They've said it's going to be a run-first offense with Arthur Smith behind a bad O-line with running backs I don't like. All the reports now are Caleb Johnson blows at camp. Jaylen Warren is going to be RB1. Really? That's what you're going to go with in a must make the playoffs here? And then the DK Metcalf deal. DK Metcalf's got an incredible PR team. I don't know what in Seattle people see in him that makes him some top 10 wide receiver, and now he's got Rodgers and he's a superstar. I don't think he's all that good.
I think he fits what Rodgers is looking for in a receiver, though. I think Rodgers doesn't need guys that can run the entire route tree. He needs guys that can run a couple of routes that he can depend on when he needs it in big moments, because the muscle memory of what he knows how to do at the quarterback position is very simple. And if he can find DK on some slant routes, and that's what DK has been pretty good at over the course of his career, obviously everyone thinks of like the deep ball with him, and that can be a factor, but I think that he's kind of the perfect receiver for what Rodgers is right now.
We'll see. The one thing I'll say is one of us will be right. I don't think there's a world where the Steelers do what they've done the past few years and just occupy the middle of the league and sit at 8-9 or 9-8. They're either going to be really good or they're going to be really bad.
They're winning 6 games or they're winning 10.
Yeah, it's somewhere in the middle. I don't see them being an 8-win team, but I am more than happy to take under 8.5 at -105. I don't like anything I'm seeing there. I think this is the send-off for Mike Tomlin. It's been 2-3 years now that Steeler fans have been like, enough with this guy. He hasn't won a playoff game in a decade. He hasn't won a Super Bowl in a decade and a half. All of his accomplishments are way back. Since then, it's a one and done in the playoffs if you even make it. And I think there's a little bit of a tax on the schedule they're going to play, on the division that they occupy, where all of these teams feel like they could occupy the middle, maybe except Cleveland. Mm-hmm. And this team is just old. And it's microwaved with guys that are long in the tooth that I don't think are all that good. And I don't buy that Aaron Rodgers is Tom Brady and he's just going to turn the clock back at 42 on a third team and make this thing work. I don't like anything I've seen.
I'm higher on Rodgers than I think you are. And maybe it's because I've been the one that's been tortured by him my entire life.
This is also my philosophy, too. I want to be the first guy off the bus. I don't want to be the last.
There's only like certain guys that I'm the last guy off the bus, and Aaron Rodgers is definitely top of that list.
I just didn't like him with the Jets.
That's the Jets.
I know, but it was supposed to be different. Everybody said Rodgers with the Jets means it's not the Jets anymore, and it was the Jets. And the Steelers, I'm sorry, they are not Kansas City or New England, not the last 15 years.
But regular season wise,
they're perfectly stable. Mm-hmm. It's not like they're ripping off 12, 13 wins a year. They're just staying in the middle.
That's kind of all you need. If you can bring in Rodgers, like if you can get quarterback play that sits near the middle of the pack, as opposed to what they've gotten the past couple of years since they've lost Big Ben, or since Big Ben basically went noodle arm.
Let's take care of this. Forget the VIG, forget the book. Mm-hmm. Just you and me, mano-y-mano. 8.5's the win total. I got under, you got over. What do you want to do?
Done. Let's do it.
How much? How much or what do you want to do?
I like our prize bets that we go. So you want to do, we already have a stake at stake, right? So do you want to do
stake at stake? You want to do a hoodie?
Hoodie bet? Yeah. Hoodie bet it is.
Sweatshirt bet on the Steelers. I got under 8.5.
All right.
I have 2 bets now. I have a bet with a random listener who I have his email locked in, pinned in my email because he's like, Steelers are going to the playoffs and winning 10 games or whatever. So I made a bet with him. Now I got one with you.
All right.
And I don't need to worry about a book, and I'll cut out the action.
Yeah, you don't have to pay that little fee either.
Beautiful. That's good work.
And I can't ghost you like that guy could if you emailed them at the end of the year.
I got a guy who bet me Cleveland was going to win the AL Central when they were 12.5 back. He's going to buy me a pizza. Radio fucking silence lately. Can't find him anywhere. So, yeah, go figure. Anything else before we get out of here?
That's all I got here. That's all I got.
That'll do it. NFC North, AFC North previews in the can. We'll do NFC and AFC East tomorrow. I am excited about both of those divisions.
Yeah.
So we'll do that tomorrow, and we'll have college football picks for you later in the week. Huge week 1 games.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to keep teasing this every show we do. Clemson and LSU, a 4 versus 9 matchup at prime time in South Carolina. Normally, that's all you need to wet your whistle on a week 1. But no, out of the chute, 11 a.m. coming in hot, 1 versus 3, Texas and Ohio State in Columbus. It's a fantastic
It's
weekend.
one of the biggest big noon feels that network's ever had.
Is this the greatest week 1 in the history of college football? It might be.
It might be. There's even like some other, like there's plenty of dog shit. Don't get me wrong. That's just the nature of week 1 in college football or any collegiate sport. But
I will eat it all up.
There's some gems. There are some true gems.
Those 2 games are not week 1. It's
you get one, you don't get both.
It's unbelievable. And usually it's like 12 versus 25, not 1 versus 3 and 4 versus 9. Yeah. That's incredible.
Yeah.
And it's a bunch of Heisman quarterbacks.
True.
You get Arch Manning, you get Klubnik versus Nuss. Hey, this is stellar.
This is art. This is theater.
All right.
Cinema awaits.
College picks coming later this week. We'll keep up with the NFL previews going into next week ahead of week 1 in the NFL. Very exciting. Football is back. It's the Pick a Side podcast.